Hey guys, welcome to the doghouse. I'm T-Bone. I'm here with Sean, and we are putting a exhaust system on an 03 Mach 1 Mustang. There it is right there. This is Sean's project car, and in the middle of doing some body work, we got it jacked up there ready to do the exhaust, and we are putting on a FlowMaster dual system. It's in 4 parts right there, you can see it. Sean's got it laid out. And we're going to take you through this project step by step today. So thanks for joining us, and good luck with your project. We got a before and after on this one. So go ahead, Sean. Okay guys, now we're going to talk a little bit about safety and getting the car properly positioned to work underneath it. How many times have you heard about cars falling on people and them getting hurt or getting killed? It's pretty serious. So at the doghouse we always make sure our cars are securely supported before we get underneath them. You can see here Sean's got 2 jack stands, both engaging the frame, and then we've got a hydraulic jack that we've left on the rear end. We like to always have a redundant system, so if one fails you've got the other to fall back on. And this is, I can't overemphasize this, get your jack stands properly placed, make sure they're set up right, and get them on the frame. Do not get under a vehicle unless there's jack stands there. So here's a view underneath the car. I'm looking at the left side exhaust right now, and there's 2 parts we need to disconnect to get this old system out of here. The flange just after the muffler, these 2 bolts here, we got to undo them, and that'll free the muffler from the front section. And then we're going to make a cut right here at the top of that pipe that goes over the axle, and we cut there just for ease of getting the old system out. So we're going to do that on the left side and on the right side. Here's the tools you're going to need for this job. We've got a reciprocating saw to cut the old exhaust pipe. We've got impact driver with shallow and deep socket for the nuts where the muffler connects to the stock system. Wrench of the same size. We've got a couple wire brushes for cleaning the mating surfaces on the old system. Scraper for getting some heavy rust off if there's any we encounter. Some spare blades. We've got some anti-seize for your new bolts, and of course your safety equipment. We got some goggles there for when you're using the Sawzall, or safety glasses if you've got a prescription. And we've got some ear protection. It's pretty loud under there with that saw. So Sean's in position, got his safety equipment on, his gloves, his glasses, got the saw there, and we are ready to make the first cut on the left side exhaust. And there we go, first side's cut. So next step is going to be removing that and undoing the bolts on the front. Here we are looking from the front back now, and we're going to disconnect the factory system where the muffler is hooked to the front pipe. You can see we've got a jack stand placed underneath to hold the pipes up. Once we disconnect those bolts, you want to hold the front section up so it doesn't strain your flex pipes or whatever you've got at the front. And so Sean's going to go ahead and undo those bolts. If you don't have an impact driver, you can obviously use a hand tools. So there, both bolts are out of that side. Now we're going to do that exact same thing on the other side. We removed the exhaust on the right hand side, and we're going to show you how to do this on the left hand side now that we've learned a few tricks. So first trick's right here. Just put a jack stand underneath and support the front of the piece you're taking off. It just keeps it from wobbling around when you're trying to work on the back. Here we are at the back of the car, and we are trying to remove the old muffler and pipes connected to it. There's two hangers. I got a view of them right there. Sean's pointing them out. There's one on the pipe and there's another on the muffler. And they'll give you a little bit of grief. We learned some tricks on the right hand side we're going to show you. But before you do anything, give them a good spray of some sort of lube. We're using a silicone spray. Sean's going to get them soaked there nicely, and that'll help slide them off. Helps quite a bit. And the next shot, we're going to show you some tricks for getting those two off of there. So Sean's got his pry bar hooked in behind the frame rail, and then it's just using a split to hold the muffler and pop off. The top hanger on that's hooked to the muffler is even easier. So if you get yourself a bar to hold the hanger in place, and use your foot or your hand to push it out of the hanger just like that. Pretty easy. Again, because they're lubed up, they will be a lot more stubborn if you don't spray them first. It's really important to spray them. So here's the old system completely removed. We got it sitting beside the new one. And just a point of interest, see how ugly the bends are on the factory system? They lose that concentricity as opposed to the mandrel bent on the FlowMaster. It's a circular cross section throughout. Just a nicer arrangement. We're back under the car to show you the next step. This is where you want to inspect the mating surfaces on your factory H-pipe. So you want to have a look at this ring here, and Sean's going to show you this is the mating surface. It's a tapered section that's going to engage a similar pattern on the new system, and you want to make sure there's no intruding heavy pieces of scale or rust or particles that would prevent you from having a good seal there. So it's a good idea just to give it a rub down with a wire brush and feel it with your finger. If there's any big chunks of stubborn material, you'll have to use a chisel or a scraper to get it off. Do that to both sides before you install your new pipes. So we got the H-pipe flanges inspected, and there's one more thing you got to do with these tailpipes is just inspect around the outside of the pipe for burrs and give it a little filing if there's any burrs there. So we've tried a few different ways of getting these components in and have found the best way to do it. So we suggest you follow this method. Start with your tailpipe and feed it in over your axle. Once you get it in over your axle, put this rear clip in first. Right there, Sean's grabbing it. Put that rear hanger in first. Then after that rear hanger is in, put the front hanger in. Right there. And then your tailpipe's installed. The next thing to go on is going to be your muffler and the attached pipe, which goes up to your H-pipe. And we wrestled with this a little bit as well and found the best sequences as follows. Start by putting your clamp on the muffler. Then, by manipulating the front end, insert the tailpipe into the muffler. Then, attach this hanger up here. And then, attach your front flange to the H-pipe. So once the mufflers and attached pipes are positioned, you can go ahead and tighten it up to the H pipe. And when you're doing that, you're going to want to go back and forth. Don't tighten one all the way. You want to go back and forth so they're drawing that joint together uniformly. When you're doing that, you're going to want to look from behind and check the position of your muffler, the bottom of the muffler there, and make sure that it's level and oriented correctly. And you can see right here that looks pretty good. It's flat to the ground. So Sean's going to go ahead and finish tightening that joint up there. We're almost done the installation. There's one thing left to tighten, and that is your clamp that connects the tailpipe to the muffler. And there's one thing you need to pay attention to when you're installing that and tightening before you tighten that clamp. And that is the spacing between the tailpipe and the frame and the tailpipe and the swing arm. What you're going to want to do is center that tailpipe between the two, and once it's there, tighten up your clamp and you're done. Just a note, guys, after you get your muffler clamp all tightened up, it's a good idea to check your clearance between the swing arm and the pipe. We found that that was the pinch point, and you're going to want to check that by using your jack to run your rear axle through its full range of motion while observing the clearance between the pipe and that swing arm. And make sure you've always got a little bit of clearance there. You may have to loosen your clamp off and readjust. One more thing I want to mention, guys, when you're tightening up your clamp between your tailpipe and your muffler is you're going to want to look at your positioning and orientation of these tips and manipulate them so that they're balanced. You want to get them as symmetrical as possible. We found that they were leaning in a little bit. They're not quite flat. The taper is biased towards the inside. So it's just something else you need to balance when you're tightening everything up. The major tip for this job, other than safety of course, is the silicone lube. It was very helpful in getting the hangers, getting the old system out of the hangers and the new system into the hangers. You have to fight way less with them when you got the lube. Use plenty of it, and it'll save you some fighting. So that's it. It's a pretty good job. We've got it's a nice system and went on pretty well, and we've got one more car on the streets set up how the doghouse likes it, firing out back with both barrels. And we're going to leave you with an after of the exhaust, and we've already tried it and it does sound awesome. Well worth the money and the effort. Go ahead, Sean, fire it up. Give her a shot.